We have a very unique situation where we are waiting for two things from one solo developer that could release in either order. If you're wondering how that math is even possible, well, Concerned Ape does have some help now on the Stardew Valley content. There are still so many other unanswered questions, so I'm going to break down all the news that we have gotten about Stardew Valley 1.7 and Haunted Chocolatier 1.0. Because they're so intertwined, it only makes sense to talk about them both. All of this came about because in September of 2025, Concerned Ape confirms a 1.7 update, but also confirms that Haunted Chocolatier is still his main focus. He also left it very purposely vague about which one will come out first. So how did we get here? Let's go back to October 8th, 2021. Haunted Chocolatier is announced with a trailer. It's important to note that the 1.5 port to mobile was still underway, mixed in with, I'm sure, some of this Haunted Chocolatier development. We get to October 30th, 2021. Haunted Chocolatier gets a blog update further to the trailer where he confirmed the game will not for sure release, and that was dependent on if he was happy with the direction of the game, if he felt like it was a quality game to come out. So big question mark still. Fast forward to April 2023, 1.6 was confirmed, originally announced as a small modding update, and would not come out until after the 1.5 mobile, which at this point is still not out, is released. September 2023 rolls around. Concerned Ape confirms the update has grown bigger and now there's new content. Shortly after that, October 30th, 2023, 1.5 releases on mobile and everything is set and done for the 1.5 update. We jump ahead to March 2024, the 1.6 update comes out. Jump ahead again to the fall of 2024, he announces that in November, the 1.6 mobile and console update will come out, and he says specifically in a blog post, "Then I would like to finish Haunted Chocolatier next." After that release in November, in December 2024, we get a Haunted Chocolatier blog update, and Concerned Ape confirms the game will release at some point. That is the first meaningful update we have gotten about Haunted Chocolatier since back in 2021, honestly. We jump ahead again to May 2025, which is about 6 months ago from the time of this video. Eric does an interview with PC Gamer, which I'll link in the description by the way, where he indicates he hopes Haunted Chocolatier will release by 2030. A few months later, we're now at September 2025 at a Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons concert. This is where he confirms there will be a 1.7 update, and soon after clarified this would not impact the release, or not impact it that much, of Haunted Chocolatier. He left it purposely vague which one will come out first, and that I think is for a specific reason. And here is where I'm going to speculate just a little bit, and I think this will bring you some comfort that these games are not as far off as you might think. I feel I understand Concerned Ape's Easter eggs very well after following him for about 10 years and reading into every single post, blog, and tweet that he has ever made. And to double down on that, he has been very consistent with the things he alludes to and what happens, so there is no reason to believe that this is any different. Going back to these dates, Haunted Chocolatier releasing by 2030 in 5 years feels like a long time off. But then he also says that 1.7 is coming along nicely and it could release before or after Haunted Chocolatier. That wording is very important because I doubt the 1.7 update is going to take 5 years. In fact, I have compiled all the dates where each of the previous updates were announced and came out, not including the mobile and console ports because that's a different issue. And you can see that there is not that much time in between the announcement and the release, usually only about a year. From the announcement, it also is very clear that the team had already been working on the 1.7 content. So it's not like this is a brand new initiative that is just starting production right now. So I would be surprised if we had to wait 2 more years from September 2025 for the 1.7 update. I don't think it's unreasonable that the 1.7 update could come out in the fall of 2026 and Haunted Chocolatier in the winter or maybe the next fall or end of year 2027. I do think Haunted Chocolatier will release in fall or winter. Even the updates we have got typically come in the fall or winter for Haunted Chocolatier, which I do think is another Easter egg that it will release sometime between October and March. Even if we wanted to push it until March of 2028, that is still drastically way sooner than 2030. Obviously, anything can happen in game development, although I really think that March 2028 is probably the longest that we would wait for Haunted Chocolatier. 1.7 probably in the fall of 2026 or maybe very early into 2027. Next up, let's talk about what we actually know about the 1.7 update so far and what we have learned about Haunted Chocolatier since my last video. Starting with the 1.7 update, one thing that we have learned about this update is that Concerned Ape is actually taking a back seat to the development of the content, which is a very new for him. Usually he has to create, approve every piece of new content more or less. This time he's going to take a creative director role and make sure that he touches and approves every piece of content, but he specifically says the team has a lot of good ideas and he likes the direction it's going, which I think shows that he has a team that he really trusts and he sees the vision that they have and he's good with that. Another thing I wanted to point out, and this could totally be a throwaway comment, but it just never is with Concerned Ape, is that he did specifically say any new music in the game he will have to do himself. That does indicate that there is going to be some content that requires new music, and we only really need new music in a few scenarios. New event, new area, new character, new festival. So at a baseline, there is going to be something pretty substantial in the update. 2 aspects of the 1.6 update that I think we can expect to get expanded upon in 1.7 is the books and trinkets because they landed very well. Since my last Haunted Chocolatier video, there is not a lot of new stuff that we have gotten officially. So I'm just gonna cover it really quickly. And if you wanna watch my other video from the trailer release until the end of December 2024, I'll link that in the description. We got some new screenshots with all of this news of 1.7 and the development of Haunted Chocolatier, including this one. A couple things to note here. The art style, color, and textures has drastically changed when you compare it to old screenshots. Concerned Ape also mentioned in that PC Gamer interview that at one point he was really into one color palette, but in the last couple years it's completely changed. So I think we can expect the game to be more of this color palette, which I think I like even better. There's also a screenshot that includes fishing. Even though you're making chocolate, there will be a lot of different ways to make money and spend your time. We also got a screenshot of this arrangement of chocolates, and this is probably just a fraction of the total chocolates you can make. You can even tell by the design of some of the chocolates, they're very linked to certain themes or power-ups or ghosts or the mansion, so I don't think we'll get bored of making the same 10 chocolates over and over. I never talked about these 3 screenshots, even though they came out actually before I made my last video, and I just want to touch on them now. This first one I think ties back to the whole idea that this town is on a port. This could easily be a remote location where they have to import and bring things in, and that's why there is crates, there's a bunch of fruit, so I wonder if right from the start there will be an island or another location that you can travel to. We also got a picture of this mermaid fountain. I think this is Concerned Ape showing off that he has got better at town design and wanting to make sure things look really, really polished. But With the mermaids, again, it's going to lean into the fantastical, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was something more to this fountain here. Lastly, we have the mansion library. This is going to be a huge part of the gameplay loop, I just know it. It was already mentioned that the mansion does kind of play a role similar to the community center, and the library might be one small aspect of it. Or maybe the library even gets bigger as you unlock more books and things to do. But I did just want to mention this screenshot because it made me very, very excited for the game when I saw it. That's pretty much everything new for Haunted Chocolatier that we have gotten in the last year, other than some other comments on Twitter about the world of Haunted Chocolatier being bigger than Stardew Valley, but there hasn't been any more large reveals other than those last two screenshots in the forest with the fishing. So that's pretty much everything we know up to this point. Hopefully we get another update soon, maybe even at the end of December of 2025. But in the meantime, if you want to speculate on what things could be awesome for 1.7, take a look at this video here where I cover 10 unreal items or changes to the game that could take Stardew Valley to the next level.